Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Jennifer. You don't know who I am. Excuse the appearance and everything. I was just laying in bed and I was watching whatever YouTuber's video about her dad passing, and I don't know, it just got me in the mood to talk. So this is gonna be a very vulnerable and very it's something that is very sensitive to me, and I think that I want to share it because when I went through this, I didn't really have anyone, or I still don't have specifically someone that I can ask about, or even when I try to YouTube things about it, it wasn't the answer that I was looking for. So a little bit about the backstory is that, I am a newlywed. I've been married for a year and a couple months, and I was actually pregnant a month ago, and I actually had a miscarriage at 8 weeks of being pregnant, and it was my first baby, my first child, and obviously the hopes were there, and the people told me, I was told that to be careful, wait till your second trimester to tell people, but even though we didn't tell very much people, we did tell the close people, and it was hard. It was hard because when I first got married, I'm not married, but when I first found out I was pregnant, it was kind of like, it was happy, we were happy to have it, and then I started noticing things. I started noticing that my doctor would put me on prescriptions for medications and stuff like that, and then and it was the weirdest thing. It was honestly the weirdest thing because a week before I had a miscarriage, I felt different. Like I was telling my doctor, I felt like I wasn't pregnant anymore. Like my body was it was different, and I was losing a lot of weight because before, when I first was pregnant, I was gaining weight, and then I instantly dropped that weight within 2 weeks. I dropped 6 pounds, and that's not a lot, but when you're pregnant, that's a lot. So I was constantly on progesterone, which is hormones. I was on it for twice a day, and the prenatal, and then I went to my doctor's appointment, and one thing that I thought was weird was on the way to my doctor's appointment, I always had these visions that I was going to be telling people that I had a miscarriage. I don't think that was necessarily negative thoughts. I think my body just knew that it was gonna happen. So then we had the ultrasound, and by that time we already had seen the heartbeat. We already had seen the heartbeat, and we had seen it. And then I went to my doctor's appointment on the Friday, and then we tried to look for the heartbeat. Everything from the outside looked good, and then we did an internal ultrasound, and we couldn't find the heartbeat. That was probably the saddest moment, not seeing the heartbeat because I had seen it previously 2 weeks ago, and then my doctor, she tried to look for it, and it just wasn't there, and that was the point that we kind of knew that it was gone. And even before that, when I first sat on the bed to get the ultrasound, my body knew. I knew. I started crying before she even started, and then when she started and she told me, it was very, very, it was so hard, and sometimes you take it upon yourself that it was your fault, and that's the one thing that they told you was it's not your fault. It's not your fault, but if you feel like it is. And so then that was Friday, and I remember my husband never went with me to the doctor's appointments. And I remember that day, I asked him, can you go with me? And for whatever reason, it just didn't work out, and which is totally fine. And then so I found out that I had miscarriage, and then on my way home, mind you, the doctor and my house are probably a 20-minute drive in the traffic. And I remember I was just bawling. I was just I could not control myself. And I came home. My husband was still sleeping because this appointment was really, really early. And then I told my husband, that we had lost it. And that was probably the saddest thing because his face, it was horrible. It was horrible because, as a person, that's the one thing that I wanted. I wanted to always be a mom. And I know people are like, oh, you still have a chance. You still have a chance. But it's not the same. I'm so nervous and so anxious, because you don't know what happened. You don't know why. So then, we kind of just had to cope with it for a couple of days. And my doctor was like, you can have a natural, like, in a sense, like birth, or you can do a D&C, which is like where they do the surgically remove the fetus from you. And at first, I had decided to do it the natural way. But the only thing is that since I was on progesterone, we did not know when it was going to happen. And my fear was that I did not want it to happen when I was at work, or when I wasn't prepared, basically, in any sense. So we thought about it for a couple days, and then we ended up deciding to do a D&C that same weekend. And we went to an appointment on Monday, and that was basically the appointment where the actual surgeon that was going to do the removal. And all she did was just go over the facts and just tell me, like, just to make sure that the baby was done. So we did an ultrasound, and from there it was just like the saddest thing. Like, obviously, it was hard because I knew the baby was there inside of me, and it was just not alive. And at the same time, I was still feeling like nauseous, and it was just the weirdest thing, because I'm like, I'm still having the symptoms, but there's nothing in there. So then we ended up having the appointment Monday, and we had the surgery scheduled for Thursday. And I remember going into surgery, and I was so scared. I was just like, not necessarily scared, but I was just like so emotional. And then we had the surgery. It was really quick. It was probably, surgery in itself was probably like 10 minutes or 15 minutes and even. And my husband was there, and I remember going into surgery. My husband, like, he was trying to hold it in, because at this point I had been crying like every day, and it's horrible. And then I went into surgery, and I came out, and I remember I woke up crying at surgery, and after surgery. And then I got discharged that same day. I went home, and then just proceeded my life, and literally, like, I felt like there was a hole missing in me. Like, I felt empty. And yeah, that was the end of it. And up until now, it's still recovering. Like, I know it's not in there anymore, but there's always hope. As a first time mom, like, you sign up for all these like clubs and all these email thingies. And so there was one where I signed up for like a weekly tracker. So every week it sends me like reports, or like, not reports, but like of what I would have been in that time frame. And I think recently I should have been my 12 weeks, which it breaks my heart, because it's just like the saddest thing. It breaks my heart because, like, there was so much hope, and it was my parents' first grandchild, and they were really excited for it, and it just didn't work out, and there's no reason why or what, but it's horrible. It's horrible, because even like my husband, he tells me, he's like, oh, like, tell me what's wrong. And I'm like, I don't know what's wrong. Like, I can't sit here and pinpoint exactly what's wrong. Like, it's just so many emotions. And I think that's specifically why I wanted to make this video, because nowadays, like, people don't talk about it. And yes, I do have my husband to talk to about it, but it's very different when he's not in the same situation that I am. And I understand he gets it, but it was very hard. And I think I'm going to talk a little bit more about like the depression state of it, and because it hits you very, very hard.